Oh hi. Gold Coast, the city in the southeast part of the Australian state of Queensland, the centre of the area of the same name of local government, is the second most populated city of the state and the sixth most populated city of the country. Gold Coast is known as one of the largest tourist centres of Australia. First of all, the centre of boating. The city of Gold Coast stretches for 60 km along east coast of Australia, washed by the Coral Sea from the settlement of Beenleigh to Keolanget in the state of Queensland near border with New South Wales. Settlements Tweed Heads and Beaudesert also usually are considered as region Gold Coast components, though they also don't enter statistical borders of the city of Gold Coast. Commercial centre of the city, suburbs Southport and Surfers Paradise, is a result of active settling of the region of the city of Gold Coast. Beenleigh, Logan City, Brisbane form conurbation now. The main river of the city is Narong. The space between the coast and the internal districts of Gold Coast was engaged in the past with the boggy area, most of which part underwent drainage subsequently. However, the part of swamps was turned into artificial waterways. Total length about 260 km. And small islands. In the western part, Gold Coast borders on the Great Dividing Range. In close proximity, the National Park Lamington, which is a part of the rainforests of East Coast carried to World Heritage Sites, is located. According to archaeological data, the territory of the modern city of Gold Coast was populated with the Australian natives for 23,000 years before appearance here of the first Europeans. By the beginning of the 19th century, in this territory 8 tribes which Dicks were representatives of the people Tu'i Ugamba lived. Hunting and also fishery was major activity of locals. Near the modern suburb of Gold Coast, Bandle, English Bundle, the traditional place of descent of local tribes was located. After appearance of the first Europeans who began to be engaged in farming and deforestation, tribes Tu'i Ugamba were forced to leave the traditional places of hunting, having moved to internal areas of the continent, and by 1890 the rest of representatives of the tribe were moved in the reservation outside the district of Gold Coast. The English traveller James Cook is considered the first European who visited on May 16, 1770 the territory of modern Gold Coast. In 1802 by the territory of modern Gold Coast other traveller, Matthew Flinders floated. However, the area remained not populated with Europeans up to 1823, when on the Mermaid Beach the researcher John Oxley landed. In spite of the fact that the territory of Gold Coast appeared on colonial cards rather early, it wasn't of particular interest at the European colonialists up to 1840, when the region was plotted by topographers of New South Wales. The woods existing in the territory of Gold Coast from a valuable Australian red cedar, Tuna ciliata, attracted the businessmen who were engaged in production of wood at once. In 1865 the small town Narong, which was in internal districts of the modern city and became subsequently one of the centres of the woodworking industry, was explored. On nearby valleys and plains Europeans began to breed the cattle, to grow up sugar cane and cotton. And in 1869 the settlement expanded to the mouth of the river Narong, located in the southern part of the Bay Moreton. In 1885 the Governor of Queensland Anthony Musgrave constructed on the hill to the north from the modern suburb of Gold Coast, Southport the house for rest. Since then the nearby coast became the resort place for safe and influential circles of Brisbane. In 1889 the railroad was brought to Southport that gave an impetus to development of the area. Up to the first quarter of the 20th century the resident population of the region grew very slowly. But after opening in 1925 of the coastal road connecting Brisbane to Southport and also Surfers Paradise Hotel in 2 came from Southport, really tourist boom began. In the 1930th years in connection with development of motor transport the flow of tourists constantly grew, and by 1935 the most part of the coast between Southport and border with New South Wales was built up with mansions and hotels. In 1933 the area was renamed into Surfers Paradise. In 1936 the hotel of the same name burned down, but already shortly on his place even more grandiose complex in which there was even own zoo was built up. After World War II the region remained very popular tourist place, and by the end of the 1940th years journalists even nicknamed him Gold Coast. In translation from English, the Gold Coast. On October 23, 1958 the City Council of South Coast was officially renamed into Gold Coast. Less than in a year the settlement was announced by the city. By 1960 infrastructure of Gold Coast was considerably expanded, the first high-rise houses and hotels appeared. In 1981 the terminal of the airport Gold Coast was open, and the 1980th years in general became successful in terms of foreign investments. The Japanese businessmen invested huge amounts of money in construction of skyscrapers and theme parks. In 1994 city borders were reconsidered and also the new local government, City Council of Gold Coast, is created. Now the city remains the large tourist centre of Australia. Actively high-rise construction develops, including in 2005 in Gold Coast the skyscraper of Q Tower 322. 5 m high. In 2007 the Circle on Cavill Complex 220 m high was completed. At the local level the city is operated by City Council of Gold Coast. On October 23, 1958 the local administration formed Council of the Settlement of Gold Coast. English Gold Coast Town Council. But only 6 months later, on May 16, 1959, the Government of Queensland provided to the settlement the status of the city. English City. In 1995 the City Council of Gold Coast included County Council Albert L. At the level of the state of Queensland Gold Coast it is presented by 9 deputies in Legislative Assembly of the state, at the federal level, 4 deputies in the House of Representatives of Australia. The main sphere of economic activity in Gold Coast is services sector, first of all, tourism. Local beaches and also high waves which attract surfers enjoy special popularity. From 1991 to 2008 the city accepted the well-known racing Earl Indy Car Series on the Grand Prix of Gold Coast. In the city a large number of high-rise buildings, including the well-known skyscraper of Q Tower 322.5 m high is located. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.